Good afternoon. Good afternoon. As you're making your way into today's Power Hour, just type in your name and role and school you're from, and we'll have more information in a second as more make their way in. We'll give it a couple more minutes for people to make their way in, and then we'll get started. Hope everyone was safe this morning, getting to getting to school. I know up in Eastern Maine, it was either you had a 2 hour delay or schools were closed. So I guess it depends what district and where you were in the region. All right, we'll get going here, and this will be recorded anyways today for anyone who wants to view it in the future as well. Good afternoon, everyone. Uh, my name is Connor Archer, and I'm the co-chair of the Executive Student Transition Committee in Transition Maine. I'm filling in for Titus O'Rourke today for our Power Hour session. I have the pleasure of introducing Amanda Muller from the Bureau of Rehab Services, and she is going to share some incredible information about apprenticeships. And I know we got talking before about the exciting apprenticeships that are happening in 2025. And really, I think, just from learning about the great work Amanda does, I think you'll be very excited to hear some of the opportunities for our students here in Maine. So I'm going to stop talking, post things in the chat. Amanda, take it away.
Thanks, Connor. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to share my screen. And Connor, if you could support me with if anybody drops questions in the chat, I might not see them. So if you can help me
Absolutely.
with it. Thank you. Is everyone able to see my slide? Okay, thank you. So good afternoon again. I'm Amanda Muller. I am excited to talk to you about the Maine Apprenticeship Program. So it's a lot of information, but I am available to review or to go through in more detail individually, or if you want me to come and speak with your staff individually about apprenticeship. So I am a vocational rehabilitation counselor, but I have a special role within vocational rehab, which is the apprenticeship navigator, where I am supporting the inclusion of individuals with disabilities in registered apprenticeship. So I do that through a lot of consultation with voc rehab counselors, with working individually with job seekers, parents, schools, anyone that will listen about apprenticeship. I also work with employers providing training on inclusivity in their business, and also a lot of developing a lot of career exploration and opportunities for our job seekers, whether that's youth or adults. So I work with both. Um, I'll talk a bit more about age and requirements for apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship. But some of the things that I might develop for work with our sponsors, our training providers, and employers. Opportunities like job tours, informational interviews, job shadows, paid work experiences. And I also work directly with job seekers and youth, individuals who are exploring careers, to offer guidance and counseling, assisting them with their resumes, cover letters, employment searches, applications, and interview preparation. Um, Referring to employers, coordinating interviews if I can. I can't guarantee them employment, but I can certainly do my best to support them. And I do have a lot of connections with apprenticeship employers that are eager and wanting to hire a diverse workforce. So I want to start off with a little poll question in order to just kind of break the ice a little bit and engage a bit. So give me 1 second. Let me see if I can launch this. Okay, can you see the poll? Okay. So pre-apprenticeships, just make your best guess if you don't know. Pre-apprenticeships typically include which of the following activities? occupational safety training, hands-on learning, formal classroom training, or all of the above? I'll leave it up for a few seconds. Okay, so so you all said all of the above, which is correct. So I'm impressed. Looks like you guys know your pre-apprenticeship, at least know what it is or what it may entail. We'll talk more about that. So I want to start with what is registered apprenticeship for those who don't have a background knowledge of that. So what a registered apprenticeship is, it's a structured training program that's approved and certified by the Maine Apprenticeship Program, but it is also paid work. So apprentices are full-time, typically full-time, not always, paid employees working under a business, and they're making an hourly wage. Um, there's minimum criteria that's set to ensure that the training program meets high standards and to protect apprentices' rights. And apprenticeships are for everybody. They are not programs designed for specific individuals, such as individuals with disabilities. These are competitive paid jobs in the community. Typically, we see that apprenticeship jobs are higher wage than non-apprenticeship positions. And just to be clear, an apprentice is not a volunteer worker. It's not an internship or a temp job. These are permanent jobs. So apprentices are also mentored by an experienced worker who supports them in their learning and growth. And each apprenticeship has an established time length, so they can be between 1 and 6 years. The minimum is 2,000 hours of on-the-job learning. That's the paid work they're doing, hands-on paid work, where they're learning those skills on the job. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer than a year to get to the 2,000 hours, which is fine. They can get an extension. But in addition to the paid work they're doing, they're also receiving related technical instruction to supplement their learning and to gain industry credentials. So these are courses that are directly relevant to the occupation. So if you ask, well, what do the classes look like? What does the related technical instruction look like? It depends on the occupation. It depends on the employer. So they're probably not going to take a humanities class so that they can learn to be an electrician or a carpenter or something. So typically apprentices are full-time workers and part-time students, but there is the potential for flexibility just based on the employer if they can offer that flexibility. And so the format of the classes is just going to depend. It could be online, it could be in person, it could be a live class, it could be a self-paced, it could be at a union hall, a vocational school, or a CTE. It could be like a community college campus or online. So apprenticeship is a good alternative to someone who's not interested in a traditional college pathway, but they do want to learn a skill. They want to earn a good living, and they don't want to accumulate student debt. So one of the great things about apprenticeship is that apprentices receive raises throughout their apprenticeship program. Of course, the longer the apprenticeship, the more raises they're going to get and the higher paid the position is, but also the higher skilled and more challenging that work is going to be. So apprentices are also receiving at least one industry credential throughout their program. It could be certificates, it could be occupational licenses, it could be a degree. There's a couple of them that include a degree. That's a requirement. And they also receive a certificate of completion from the Maine Department of Labor, Maine Apprenticeship Program, that states they've completed an apprenticeship in that occupation, and it's nationally recognized. They can go to any state to show that they're fully trained in that occupation. And in the image, you can see that's a solar panel technician at Revision Energy working on a roof. Revision Energy has a solar electrician apprenticeship program in Portland, and that is one of their female apprentices. So when I say apprenticeships are structured, this is what I mean. So this is a snippet on the left of what's called a schedule of work. This example is for a heating and ventilation technician apprenticeship. So every apprenticeship program has a document like this that explains what skills are required to be learned on the job and how many hours you need to work on those skills in order to become competent. And for this apprenticeship, you can see some of the required skills are learning to identify tools and materials, what they're used for, how to handle them safely, tools specific for that occupation, how to install propane tanks, furnaces, heating units, and space heaters. And so these are just a few of the skills that are to be learned on the job. This isn't the entire schedule of work for a HVAC technician. But on the right side is a snippet of the required related technical instruction. So these classes are specific to the employer and to the job. So you can see this one includes instruction on company history, safety, specific occupational courses. Every single apprenticeship, even if it's like a bank teller apprenticeship, is going to include safety training. That is a requirement. So this is just an example to kind of demonstrate what makes apprenticeship structured and what makes it high quality training. So what kinds of apprenticeships are in Maine? This is not an exhaustive list, but these are where we see the most opportunity. So feel free to visit our website, which I'll share with you, to search for apprenticeship opportunities. Of course, you've got your construction, heavy equipment, skilled trades. There's lots of opportunity in that, but we also have apprenticeships in aquaculture, automotive repair, commercial truck driving, education, which is growing rapidly to address that shortage in educators in Maine. Finance, as I said, there's bank teller apprenticeships, and there are payroll specialists, and that's growing as well. Funeral practice, that's a big one because it's a requirement. You have to do a registered apprenticeship to become a funeral practitioner. Healthcare, there's apprenticeships for CNAs, phlebotomists, and medical assistants. There's production and precision manufacturing as well. And there are more. So if you want to learn more about what apprenticeships are out there or in a particular area, you can feel free to reach out to me. So who's apprenticeship for? Well, legally, you have to be at least 16 to work as an apprentice. But the requirements are determined by the employer. So the employer might say, well, you need to be 18 for this particular job. So especially if it's a higher risk or more susceptible to injuries or something like that, yeah, you're going to see that you need to be 18. Or sometimes they'll say, well, 17 to be safe. You really should be someone who's motivated and committed, and who's a hands-on learner. It's a good option for someone who isn't interested in the traditional college pathway, but they want to go straight to work. So maybe they're not interested in waiting 4 years or 2 years to complete a training program before they start earning money. So they're actually earning while they learn. And a person who enters an apprenticeship should be someone who is, they're pretty certain of the type of work they want to do. Maybe they don't know exactly what kind of trade they want to do, but they know that they want to work with their hands. They don't mind getting dirty. They just want to learn a skill. That's good enough. Or maybe they know, well, I want to enter the healthcare field or something like that. employers are looking for people who are showing up every day and putting in the work and have a good attitude. So it's nothing's changed about that. Um, so th the Maine apprenticeship program is committed to making apprenticeships inclusive. So there are efforts to be more inclusive, not just of individuals with disabilities, but also women, people of color, people who are justice involved, and other underrepresented groups. So we have employers from different occupations that they may have their targeted groups. Like we're really trying to focus on new Mainers where we want to put them to work, or we want to provide opportunity for them. Um, so if you want to know of employers that are hiring people with disabilities, many of them are, and they don't know it, but that's something you can talk to me about. Um, with that said, apprenticeship is not for everybody. It's just one pathway to a career, and it's a great option for someone who really wants to get to work, learn a skill, and earn a great wage. Um, the fact is, apprenticeship takes a heavy commitment of one's time and energy. It might not be something that they're ready for right out of high school. It may not be their first job right out of high school. It might be something that they are wanting to work toward, and they might need to gain some experience and skills first before they are ready. And I'm happy to work with them, even if they're not ready yet, to provide that guidance and counseling in that direction. Um, okay, so um, apprenticeship employers, they're required to provide reasonable accommodations to qualified individuals with disabilities. Um, the the sponsors, these are the apprenticeship employers, or the organizations that run the apprenticeship programs and do all the paperwork and administrative tasks for the apprenticeship. They're required to have EEO statements on their applications. They're required to have affirmative action plans if they've got more than a certain number of apprentices on staff. Um, but they um, they are required to hire qualified individuals with disabilities, meaning they meet the minimum criteria and they're able to perform the essential functions of the job with or without an accommodation. So they may not know what accommodations are needed or what they are, but that's what we are here for. What I am here for, to support the employers and the apprentices um, with those needs. So the types of accommodations are going to depend on the setting. Um, we can talk more in a different setting about specific accommodations. It gets kind of weedy if you're saying, well, this person needs a job coach. It may not be realistic for a job coach to ride along with them with their work crew and jump on a roof with them and on a harness with a hard hat, but it might be realistic for some other kind of apprenticeship setting. So we're working on developing a plan for how we can accommodate apprentices in the classroom setting and apprentices who are at work. So some of the things I do to engage with students, I visit schools. I will talk to students about apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship, and happy to set up any virtual or live conversations, bringing in employers, highlighting employers and occupations, sharing success stories and things like that. We have these cool kits. They're called career kits. That was funded through the Pathways to Partnership grant. Happy to bring those into schools to highlight some occupations that are in the area of apprenticeship. So they have like construction career kits, and they've got like medical healthcare career kits, and they get to try different tasks using it's like a little activity box with those. So I haven't seen them myself, but I'm planning on cracking those open to play around with those so I can bring them to the schools. Um, and of course, working individually or in a group to support students with how to prepare for an apprenticeship or a pre-apprenticeship and how and what to expect. So I wanted to share with you some images. Um, this is over the summer, I took some students to on a tour of Ferta Farms, which is an oyster company in Brunswick. They have an aquaculture technician apprenticeship. So we took a boat tour. We learned about the aquaculture industry and the phases of the oyster life, and we got to we had a little demonstration on shucking oysters, and we got to taste some oysters, and that was really fun. It was like 100 degrees that day. It was like the hottest day of the year, but we all made it. Nobody died of heat stroke. And then we went to Industrial Roofing Company in Lewiston, which is an awesome employer. All of their related technical instruction is on site and paid, so they don't have to go home after working for 10 hours and then get on their computer and do the coursework. It's all on site, and they've got their computers in a little classroom. But we went there, and the students tried on harnesses, learned about fall safety. They did a demonstration on how to put on silicone, some liquid silicone on a roof to I don't know. It was pretty fun. So they got to try that out, and they really enjoyed it. All the students, there were 5 students, all of them said they would enjoy working at Ferta Farms. Actually, all of them, but one said they would like to work for, I'm sorry, all of them said they would like to work for Industrial Roofing Company. All but one said they'd like to work at Ferta Farms because the one kid said it was too stinky. So that was good for him. It's kind of smelly, but if you can't tolerate it, then that's a good way to find out. I'm going to skip the poll question because I did them in the wrong order, and you already know the answer to it. So now that you know what registered apprenticeships are, I want to talk to you about pre-apprenticeships. So a pre-apprenticeship is a formal training that prepares individuals to enter an apprenticeship program. A pre-apprenticeship can be specifically for youth, or it can be for adults. So the youngest you can be is 16. There's no age cap on becoming an apprentice or a pre-apprentice. You just have to be at least 16, unless they require that you are 18. Um, so a pre-apprenticeship is not a job. It's a short-term training, and it combines some hands-on and classroom learning, and it teaches basic skills that you'll need for the occupation. So if your pre-apprenticeship is in the area of construction trades, you might be learning how to use a tape measure, how to read a tape measure, how to read blueprints, you might be learning what tools are used on the job or how to identify them and what do they do. You might be learning how to be safe on the job and things like that. And so if your pre-apprenticeship is related to healthcare, you're going to be learning about medical terminology, safety, sanitation, patient care, disease prevention, things like that. Healthcare laws. And a pre-apprenticeship also includes some sort of contact with an apprenticeship employer. That's a requirement. So the pre-apprenticeship is designed to lead straight into apprenticeship. It's not like you take this training and then, okay, I guess that's it. The point is to funnel that into apprenticeship. So it typically will include typically there's a guaranteed job interview, at least one, but it may include job fairs, job shadows, informational interviews. It might include actual paid work experiences. Some of the pre-apprenticeships, they might work as temp workers. So you're taking your classes and you're working as a temp worker, and then at the end of the experience, they decide if they're going to keep you, if it was a good experience, or if they will not offer you employment. And then, so a pre-apprenticeship can be up to 6 months long for adults. Usually they're like 3 to 6 weeks long, but if it's a high school program, it can be longer than that. So it might be 2 years, like embedded into a CTE program. And so pre-apprenticeships are a great way for someone with little or no experience to learn about an apprenticeship program, to learn about the occupation, to see if it's a good fit for them. Sometimes the pre-apprenticeships are they usually will include some kind of career exploration within it. So it might be a general trades where you're trying out different things like, okay, let's see what carpentry looks like. Let's see what plumbing looks like. Let's see what um, heavy equipment looks like. And I'll show you some pictures and stuff in a minute. I want to make sure I'm good on time. Um, so it's a really good opportunity to get your foot in the door with an employer and to see if it's a good fit for you, that type of occupation. And although experience isn't a requirement to become an apprentice, um, know that apprenticeship positions are still competitive. So completing a pre-apprenticeship, it's not required, but it is a really great way um, to get your foot in the door if you've got zero experience or training. But you do have to work hard to prove yourself to, throughout the course. Like I said, employment is not guaranteed. And the pre-apprenticeships are scheduled just like classes based on the employer's need and if they have spaces. There's certain employers that are constantly hiring, and there's certain, like we work with huge companies and then tiny small businesses that might only hire one apprentice. So these are some of the areas that the types of pre-apprenticeships that you'll see in Maine. Most of them are in construction trades. We do have a summer aquaculture technician apprenticeship. There's a welding pre-apprenticeship program, manufacturing, automotive technology, fewer opportunities in electrical, bank teller, healthcare, line cook, and more. They might be specific to a small area or a particular school, CTE school that offers that training. So these are pictures of pre-apprentices from Nokomis High School, and they're learning safety training and basic wiring through the pre-apprenticeship with Augusta Electrical Union, or IBEW 1253. And they've been doing that for the past 2 years, I think. So they're going to be doing it again next year. These are pre-apprentice graduates from last year accepting their certificates, and they also got free gear. They got a tool box or tool bag, and they got like hard hats and some other things. And that was a 4-week summer construction training program for students or for youth 16 and I think it's between 16 and 22. And this is another picture of students from the Associated General Contractors pre-apprenticeship program. Again, the 4-week training program. They got to visit job sites, and they got to check out heavy equipment and learn about welding, carpentry, masonry, and other things. They received some certifications like OSHA training and Flagger and things like that. I think if they're 18, they're eligible to get more certifications. And so they learned basic construction skills. Let's see. The image on the left is 2 students in excavators. They're learning how to run the excavator, and they're playing tic-tac-toe with those large metal pieces. So kind of really just carefully trying to delicately move those pieces. So that was a great way for them to practice. And then on the right side, our pre-apprentices touring a read and read construction site and learning about the heavy equipment used there. Then we have some images of, on the left is a student practicing welding. On the right is a student practicing bricklaying. And I've got one story to share from Jay. He said, I earned money. I loved learning about construction techniques I didn't know before. I'm hoping to eventually use some of the things I learned when I become a plumber. I would recommend this program to anyone interested in working in construction. There were so many certifications and wonderful experiences that will help them. Then Zachary said, I became an apprentice, pre-apprentice actually, because I was interested in construction. It got me some money over the summer and it's going to help me get a job after graduation. I liked it because I got to try new things and it was exciting going to the job sites. I think others should do this too because it will help them get jobs in the future. And then this is my big success story. This is Cameron. Cameron, he's 22, or he was 22 when he started the pre-apprenticeship with AFL-CIO. And he said in the Union Construction Academy, that's the pre-apprenticeship, they take you to different sorts of apprenticeship programs all around Maine where they show you what they look like, how much you will get paid, because when you get into an apprenticeship program, you are being paid as you are learning. I would highly recommend the Union Construction Academy pre-apprenticeship program. He is now working as a welder apprentice at Portsmouth Naval Shipyard, and he's been there since May. He's doing great. Cameron is deaf, so he uses American Sign Language interpreters in his classes, and Portsmouth Naval Shipyard actually has a deaf affinity group, and they provide sign language interpreters. So starting in January, applications will open up for the Aquaculture Pioneers Pre-Apprenticeship program. This is actually like full-time summer work. So if you know someone who wants a summer job and is interested in boating, ocean life, things like that, nature, um, definitely have them check out the aquaculture pre-apprenticeship. And it's kind of competitive, because they're working under an employer who might only take one or two pre-apprentices. But that's something I'll be sharing when the application comes out. So they might be doing things like harvesting or animal husbandry for seaweed, shellfish, or fish farming, monitoring the growth stages, harvesting and processing, and maintaining equipment, and operating the boats. And I talked a little bit and shared some pictures of the Maine Construction Academy. That's through Associated General Contractors. This is the youth program. They're going to be doing it again. I was told that the applications are to be opening up at the end of December. They're going to have 14 different training sites throughout Maine. And it's a 4-week pre-apprenticeship. They get paid a stipend. I think it's $200 a week. And it covers basic construction skills. There's a lot of math. Construction does require math. That's you need to know fractions to have an understanding of fractions to use a tape measure. You need to understand health and safety on the job. That's very important. Lots of career exploration, hands-on and simulated work experiences. And they do offer assistance with developing your resume, prepping for interviews, and then there are multiple guaranteed interviews with employers. If the employer's not hiring, it's more like a mock interview. But if they are hiring, then they will offer them employment if they do well in the interview and in the course. If they're not ready for work because they're only 16, they're still in school, they're not ready, they will have the opportunity to apply when they graduate. People's Inclusive Welding School, actually, there's a welding workshop coming up for youth. I am facilitating this event. It's on March 21st, so have a little while, but we expect it's going to fill up. There's 12 spots. And People's Inclusive Welding is in South Portland, and their mission is to create a safe and supportive environment for underserved and underrepresented communities. And they have a 10-week pre-apprenticeship that they offer, I think, twice a year. So it's a really great program for individuals who are wanting to get into welding, and they assist with placement into an apprenticeship when they complete that training. Bath Iron Works, this is an adult program, but I wanted you to know about it because lots of people want to work at Bath Iron Works. That might be a goal for someone who's still in school. Bath Iron Works is constantly hiring. They have a pre-apprenticeship that's through SMCC, and it essentially runs every month. So it's a 3-week class. They get a $500 a week stipend. They cover a lot of content in technical math, blueprint reading, hand and power tools. It's not an easy class. It's very competitive. There's a guaranteed interview with Bath Iron Works at the end. So it's not very competitive to get into the pre-apprenticeship, but it's very competitive to get into employment with Bath Iron Works. But I have some insight into what they're looking for in the interview process. You got to be 18 and have a high school diploma to get into this program. And then next school year, I think in March, they're going to open up applications for next school year's Augusta Electrical Union pre-apprenticeship, and that's embedded into the school program. If there are students who attend Foxcroft, Nokomis High School, Central Institute, and homeschooled students in the area that are at least 16 and are interested in construction trades, especially electricians, they just need to talk to their guidance counselor or ELO coordinator. And if they want to do the electrician pre-apprenticeship, they have to have passed Algebra 2. Maine Health has a healthcare career pathways pre-apprenticeship. It's all online and self-paced, but it's got 40 hours of content. And they get a guaranteed interview with Maine Health upon completion. And it also embedded in the program, there's information on career pathways and how to, there's a career assessments to help people understand in what area, clinical, non-clinical, are you interested in working. You get an interview for a position as a CNA, a medical assistant, or a phlebotomist. And it's got a lot of information on medical terminology, patient care, and things like that. And this is another, oh, sorry, the last one, you have to be 17 to do this pre-apprenticeship. AFL-CIO is offering 3 pre-apprenticeship classes. These are for adults, but if we have someone who is graduating and wants to go into a pre-apprenticeship class, this is another one that offers, similar to the Associated General Contractors, the training for general construction and assistance with placement into an apprenticeship. This is the class that Cameron did, and he got help getting into Portsmouth Naval Shipyard as a welder. And he didn't have any experience before in construction or manufacturing or trades. He was a dishwasher. So he got a pretty good entry career through this program. This is what our website looks like. If you click on career seekers and you scroll down, you can see that there's a map, an interactive map, and you can search by occupation, you can search by apprenticeship or pre-apprenticeship. You can type in a name, and then it'll show you pins of where the apprenticeship is located and their website. I wanted to share some apprenticeship toolkits. I'm going to share this slide with Connor and Titus, and then if you could please share that widely so everyone has access to it. The links are embedded here. I helped to develop an apprenticeship toolkit with the Vocational Rehabilitation Technical Assistance Center for Quality Employment. And so it's a practical toolkit for service providers, employers, and vocational rehabilitation customers. It's got a lot of great information on what does an apprenticeship entail, how to prepare for an apprenticeship, who's apprenticeship for. There's like a self-assessment. It's very good stuff. And then the one on the left is Institute for Community Inclusion. They have a toolkit specific for rural youth. So if you want to learn more, I would reach out to me. I'll put my contact in the chat, but you can type it in. It's on the screen. I can visit your school. I can speak with your staff, visit our website, ask me any questions. I'm happy to meet with you. I'm happy to email with you or talk on the phone. Um, I do know that we still have a few minutes left. There are some frequently asked questions about apprenticeship. I wanted to make sure I had time before I talked with you about those. So one of the questions is, how do you get an apprenticeship job? So essentially, you're going to apply just like any other job. You're going to do a job search, fill out the application, submit your resume, interview. It's the same process. The employer may not list the position as an apprenticeship. Um, there's not an easy way to find out who's hiring for apprenticeships. They may not even post the position. So that's why it's good to work with me, because I can reach out to the employer. I know where to look to find out if they're hiring. Another question is, how do I qualify for an apprenticeship job? So, as I said before, meeting the minimum requirements or qualifications may not be enough. Some of those requirements might be you have to be 18, you need a driver's license, you need a high school diploma. Not every apprenticeship requires that. Um, you know, even though it's not required, apprenticeships are competitive. So the employer is going to hire the best person for the job. And so I'm happy to support our job seekers, our youth, with how to be as competitive as possible to get into an apprenticeship position. Um, let's see. That's all that I had. I'm gonna unshare and
Amanda, I had a
ask if anyone has
question.
questions. Yeah.
I had a question for you actually. What were some of the opportunities that you or where are some of the new apprenticeship opportunities that if you can share for 2025 that you're hearing about in particular?
So it's because it's winter, it's hiring has slowed down. In the spring, a lot of employers start to hire when they're looking for um, uh, apprentices for construction and trades. So
Yeah.
we're going to see a lot of construction and trades. Industrial Roofing Company in Lewiston, Bath Iron Works is going to be doing a lot of hiring. There are 300, I think, or 400 employers that have apprenticeship programs. So I'm not going to know them all, who's hiring off the top of my head, but based on interest, I can research. Um, there have been opportunities for um, um, Revision Energy is having a pre-apprenticeship. They're hiring solar technicians in South Portland. Um, there are ed tech. There's an ed tech pre-apprenticeship for adults in at Portland Adult Ed that's starting in the winter. I'm thinking January. Um, Brunswick is not going to be hiring any ed techs until ed tech apprentices until fall next year. Um, but I think the best way to find out who's hiring, what's happening, is to contact me. Um, you can tell me, I'm looking for an apprenticeship um, in for a CNA in this area, and I'll tell you what's the closest opportunity in that area. So that might be the best way. But I put my email address in the chat. Any other questions? So feel free to reach out to me. I hope this was informative. And if you have specific questions, I'm happy to talk individually.
Yeah, thanks, Amanda.
Yeah,
Great presentation and great insight to the opportunities that are out there for our students. So
yeah,
definitely
absolutely.
encourage you to uh, reach out to Amanda with any questions there. I am oh, Kelly's got her hand up there. So
Yes,
I'm sorry,
Kelly.
just a quick question, Amanda. Is this something like as specifically I work with special education population, and a number of my kids currently we have not had good luck with vocational rehab, and in fact, our most recent person just resigned and left. We're in southern Maine, and I know I'm hearing that a lot of people in northern Maine are having a lot more luck than we are. Um, but my question is, do the students have to be enrolled in voc rehab, or once they're enrolled they then do they become not eligible for some of these? I just want to make sure, like I said, passing along information because we're having.
Yes. Right. So they don't have to be a client of vocational rehab to do any of the programs that I had brought up. Well, if they want to take a tour, I don't even think they really need to be a client to take a tour. I think they have to be potentially eligible. They don't, if they're participating in a voc rehab um, activity like a tour, they might have to be a client, but to do what the pre-apprenticeships, no. To work with me, they don't have to be a client. I'm happy to talk with students. I'm happy to talk with. So essentially, my role is promoting disability inclusion. I'm housed in voc rehab, but I don't have to only work with voc rehab clients. However, if a student or an individual needs someone to pay for their boots, their tools for work, or something like that, I can't help them. I might refer them to somebody else who might be able to help, but because they're not a client, we can't pay for anything. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you very much. I
Yep,
appreciate it.
sure.
This has been very informative. I
Yeah.
really do appreciate your time, and I opened up all the links so that I have them to look later. So thank you. I really appreciate this.
Thanks, Kelly. And I did want to say one more thing. I am also happy to, if you've got someone, maybe apprenticeship is not on their radar, or maybe apprenticeship may not be right for them, or there's a question about that. I'm still happy to talk with them wherever wherever they are in their readiness, in their journey. If they have a vague interest in an occupation that's, especially if it's construction trades, because I can connect them with employers. I can answer questions about like licensing requirements and how to be eligible or meet the criteria or whatever. At least help them come up with some goals. Like, okay, here's 5 things you can do before you're ready. Um, doesn't mean they have to work with me the entire time. They're 5 years or whatever. They're getting ready to do that type of work. So I'll talk to anybody. Well, thank you,
awesome.
everybody.
Yeah, thanks everyone. And I've posted in the chat survey link and contact our certificate as well. So if you please take the survey at the end, give us feedback on the session. Uh, and then for your certificate for contact hours, please fill that, access that link to fill that out. One final update I want to share as well. Uh, a big component, Amanda mentioned this too. Uh, Leadership skill buildings, and soft skill buildings are a really important part of helping a student work towards any career opportunity, even an apprenticeship. And we have a cool opportunity through Transition Maine and our transition initiatives to uh, build their skill sets, leadership, leadership skill sets while advocating for change. We're looking for student members to join our Executive Student Transition Committee, which is under Transition Maine, and myself, my co-chair Dylan Campbell, and Titus. We work closely together to ensure that we are improving opportunities and enhancing opportunities for students um, uh, living with disabilities uh, through as early as middle school, actually late elementary school even. So uh, if you have a student in your building that you think would be a great fit, is willing to have is able, and has a really great passion for uh, using their voice to make an impact, please reach out to us. I'm actually going to post the article that the DOE newsroom just released as well last week. Uh, that will bring you to the EST committee nomination form, and that will allow you to allow you or the student. We prefer the student to fill out the form with support, of course, but teacher can do it as well. And we'll be conducting interviews ongoing for the next couple of months to build our committee. It's a paid opportunity, by the way, $20 an hour, $20 an hour for members to participate in meetings. But also, if it's a conference, if it's an event, they get paid for their time of that as well. So great work opportunity, but even a better skill building opportunity as they look forward into the next stage of or into adulthood, whether it's college, whether it's the workforce. Uh, we have high school members, we have college members, as well, a college junior. So I encourage you, fill out the nomination form, reach out to Titus as well. The information is on that newsroom release I just sent out. It's a great opportunity. And did you know that Maine is one of the leading states in the country, really pushing this youth engagement work in transition? So I just wanted to highlight that and really encourage you to pass this along to your colleagues in your buildings. So on that note, thanks everyone for your time and really appreciate all that you do. Uh, and stay safe and happy holidays.
Thanks, Connor. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.